Hello everybody! Happy Art Day! Welcome to Freakin' Art! My name's Anastasia and I'm so excited you stopped by to make some art with me. Now next week is St. Patrick's Day. That's a traditional Irish holiday, but it is celebrated all around the world. Now when you think about St. Patrick's Day, maybe the color green comes to mind, or leprechauns, or rainbows, or pots of gold, or even shamrocks, those lucky four-leaf clovers. But for today's class, I thought we'd celebrate St. Patrick's Day by looking back at some of the traditional art of the Irish people. That's right, today we're going to learn a little bit about Celtic knots and make our very own Trinity knot and a shamrock Celtic knot. Isn't that cool? I think so. So these look really intricate and hard to do, but we'll break it down into some simple shapes so it's not so frustrating. Now, the history and meaning of Celtic knots are kind of a mystery. There was nothing written about them, so we can only guess what the different intricate patterns meant. So they're thought to represent faith or unity, or even to protect against evil spirits. Now, they're characterized by a bunch of different intertwined lines, and one really important thing is that they connect so they go on forever. So for today's class, we're going to make a Trinity knot. This is a traditional Celtic knot, and it's thought to symbolize the stages of life: childhood, adulthood, and old age. And then we're going to take that idea of the interwoven lines and connecting them so they go on forever and make our St. Patrick's Day inspired Celtic knot and make our own lucky shamrock. So for today's class, you're going to need some different colored paper. I got some greens and yellows and blues, but whatever you got works. I have 3 different size circles, so I'm using a plate for my big circle, and then I have a cup, and I'm going to use each side, so I have a medium and a small circle. You're going to need some glue. I have a pen and a pencil. One should be fine, and then I got some scissors. So before we dive into this really cool art project, let's take a minute and do a little breathing and stretch so we're super focused and ready to make our own Celtic knots. So everybody breathe in and breathe out. Let's do that one more time. Let's breathe in and breathe out. Whew, I already feel better. Let's roll our shoulders back. And can we roll them forward? And let's intertwine our fingers and stretch out those fingers and hands and arms. Ooh-wee. Well, I feel relaxed and focused and ready to make some art. I hope you do too. Now we're going to start with our Trinity knot. It looks really tricky, but we're going to break it down into some simple steps so it's not overwhelming. So let me just move some stuff out of the way and we'll get started. Now I'm just going to be using 2 colors, the background paper and the yellow, but feel free to use multiple different colors to make your knot. It's your artwork and it should look like your artwork. So if you want it to be super colorful, go for it. So to start, we're going to make these little arcs. So I have my background green paper and then I have my yellow paper, And I'm going to take my plate. I'll do it up here so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. I'm going to use a Sharpie, but you can use a pencil. And what we're going to do is we're going to trace a circle. So first I'm going to trace the whole plate, and then I'll trace a little, like a half a plate. If you have a big enough piece of paper, you could always do 2 whole circles, or if you have a smaller piece of paper, you could just do 3 halves. We're gonna need 3 different arcs. So I'm starting, I got my plate and my pen, and I'm just gonna go all the way around. Woo! There we go. And I'm not worried about the pen mark because I'll just use the back of my paper and I'll glue down this part. I do need 1 more half circle. So I'm going to take my plate again and find some room on my piece of paper. Woo! Let's try that again. It slipped. Okay. And I'm just tracing the other part of the circle. So it kind of looks like I have an 8. But again, if you have a big enough piece of paper or 2 pieces of paper, you could do 2 whole circles if it makes it easier. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is cut out our circle. So I'll cut out the big one first. Voila, I have 1 whole circle. We'll put it to the side. Now I'm going to cut out my little crescent moon shape here. And again, you might have 3 crescent moon shapes, or you might have 2 full circles. We're just going to need a total of 3 half circles. Haha, got a crescent moon. So now we're going to take our whole circle, and remember your circle should be small enough that it fits on your page, because your Trinity knot's going to take up about that much space. So if you have a smaller piece of paper like this size, you're going to have a little bit smaller circle. So think about that before you start tracing everything. Okay, so now I have my whole circle, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it in half. So I got the edge meeting up right there, and I'm just going to crease it down real good. Just take a look and see if it looks like your circle's even all the way around, like it's matching up. You could always trim a little bit off so it looks like they're exactly the same, because we want to try to get the shapes to be exactly the same or as close as possible. Don't stress about it. Just take some deep breaths. If you can't get it to be exactly the same, well, we can always fudge it a little bit at the end. Don't worry. Okay. Now, I want it to be a little arc shape here. You can, if you have a smaller circle, you could always take the smaller circle and trace it. Or you can not worry about it being too wibbly and wobbly and just cut it out. And that's what I'm going to do. So I got this folded in half. I'm going for like maybe 2 of my fingers width. And I'm just going to cut around like this so I have an arc. So I'm cutting out basically the center of my circle. And I'm not too worried about it being perfect. Okay. So you should have a circle with a hole cut out. And now we're going to take these ends, and you can either cut or tear them. So you have 2 pieces. Now, so this arc can be the same size. Just take one of your arcs you already have and trace it. So you have 3 of the same size half circles. Now, it's probably easier if we do this flat, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm just lining up with my little partial circle here. And again, if you have a second full circle that was the same size as your first one, you could just do the exact same thing we just did and just use 3 of the pieces. But since I was using 1 piece of paper, I have this little crescent moon shape, so I'm going to put my arc on top and trace it so it's the same shape. So I'm lining up my edges here and I'm tracing around that arc. There we go. And now I'll just cut it out. And again, I'm not too worried about the black line because I'll just put the glue on that side of the paper and I can hide it. And you could totally have 3 different colored arcs. That would look awesome. Or you could do all the same color like I'm doing. Totally up to you. Artist choice. Okay, so we have 3 arcs that are basically the same. They might be a little bit wibbly wobbly different. But we're not going to worry about that. We can fudge it. So, the next thing you do is get your background piece of paper and we're going to place our arc. Now, it looks like this is weaving in and out. So, you kind of want to place everything down first before you glue it, or don't press it. If you're gluing as you go, just don't press it down super hard first. So I got my background piece of paper. I'm going to start with this middle lower arc here. So that's going to go about there. I might have to do this flat first to show you how I would place it. Let's do that. Let's do that. All this back and forth. Okay. So I'm going to place everything down first and then I'll put it up there to glue it so I can show you. So we're putting down our bottom arc, and then you're going to want to match up the edges. So I got the bottom arc down kind of like a rainbow, and now I'm matching up this one. And I'm going over and under. I'm matching up that one, and then I'm taking the next one. Let me see if I can show you. So I have the one arc going on the bottom, and then I put the other arc on top, and I just tucked that end underneath it. That's not that big of a deal. If that seems really confusing and frustrating, just try to get the ends to match up. Okay, so I went over with the first one. I'm going under with the second one. I'm going under the rainbow arc here. And over the top. So I'll show you. Da-da-da. So I got, here's my first rainbow one. And the first side piece here went over the top of the rainbow, and then I tucked its end under the bottom of the rainbow arc. And then the second side arc here, it went under the rainbow, and I tucked the top of this bottom piece over the top, and we'll put this one over the bottom. That part's not as important. It's just what it looks like when it's drawn. But that will get you an idea of how to put together your Trinity knot before you glue it. Now it's probably going to slide when I put it down, so I'm just going to kind of glue and peel as I go. So I got my first rainbow knot, which I'm putting this way. I'm putting glue on the back. And remember, we don't have to cover the whole back in a bunch of glue. You can just do a little squiggly line or the edges. Tape works too if you don't have any glue. Don't let your lack of materials and tools keep you from making your art. Okay, so I got my rainbow down. Now I'm going to grab one of my sides and put some glue on the back. Okay, now this one, I'm going to go ahead and tuck under this first piece. So I'm lifting that up a little bit. It's going under, and I will put the tips there matched up. There we go. Okay, and then we got our third piece. Put a little bit of glue on it. And I'm putting it over my rainbow piece, and I'll tuck the end underneath right there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is what I mean by you might want to move it around first before you put the glue on. Because otherwise you're going to make a mess like I'm making. This piece is not working. Okay. I've got my top piece on. The back is going to look really messed up. We're going to have to draw on it or something. Top piece on. Bottom. This is a terrible example. This is an example of how to get very frustrated. Okay, we got the top piece on, and we got the bottom pieces on, so they kind of go together. You can, well, besides the fact that I have yellow there, which I'm going to have to color over so it looks better. I guess you can't tell, maybe it's bad from the video. It looks great. Everything looks great. I got a little bit of my edge sticking off, so this is what I was talking about earlier. If you can't get it all to go together, you can kind of fudge it. Which I'm sure is not what the Celtic people did. I'm sure they were very precise. Precision is just not my strong point. So I'm just cutting off that little edge. Whoa. There we go. So I cut off the little corner there so it doesn't look like, so it has the illusion, it looks like it's a continuous line. So it might be a little bit frustrating. You might have to move your paper around a little bit. That's why it's easier to do it flat and place it all down first before you glue it. Let's see. It doesn't look as pretty as my example. I'm blaming it on the pressure of being on film. But here we go. Here's our simple, maybe not so simple, but a simple Celtic knot, the Trinity knot. We'll just pretend I did this one on camera because that looks so much nicer. Okay. And remember, you don't need to get frustrated. Just if you feel like you're getting really frustrated, just take a deep breath or take a break and go get a snack. So this is the easier one. I mean, this is supposed to be the easier one. Now we'll do a little bit tougher one, and we'll do our lucky Shamrock Trinity knot. Then, you know, if you get frustrated, just fudge it a little bit. It's okay. It's all about practice. I think it looks better with the fatter arcs here. But you know what? That doesn't look bad either. Both work. For the Shamrock one, because this is festive for St. Patrick's Day, so we gotta do this one, right? Okay. I got a little bit frustrated. I had to stop and eat a snack. That happens to adults too. I needed to eat a snack, calm down, take a break, and refigure out how to do this totally awesome Shamrock Celtic knot. I did a whole one after my snack break. Okay, so now I feel like I can explain it in a simple way that won't confuse anybody. So, we're going to start with cutting out our hearts. Now, it's important that our hearts are all the same size, and I think it's easier when they're a little bit thicker. So I cut out one heart first and cut out the center part too. So it's like a finger width. And I'm going to use this as a guide and trace my hearts. We're going to use 4, so we're making a lucky shamrock here. So you could have 4 different colors of 4 different colored pieces of paper. You can use all the same, or you could do 2 different colors. I'm going to go with 2 different colors. Okay, so I'm going to put this to the side. I'll just show you as I go what we're doing. Okay, so I went and I have a little heart. You can start by drawing 1 heart and then cut that out and use it as a shape to trace to do your other hearts. So I have a piece of paper. I'm folding it in half. You could double up your paper. You could also do all 4 at once. It might be a little bit hard to cut, so I'm going to do 2 at once. So I have 2 pieces of paper. Again, you can do them 1 at a time, all 4 at once, or you could do what I'm doing and do them 2 at a time. So I have the 2 pieces of paper. They're both folded in half and tucked in like a book. Now I'm taking my heart, because this was a good shape, it worked out. I'm going to trace my heart on here. Again, you could just be drawing 1 heart to start with and then use that 1 heart to trace your other heart, so you have 4 hearts that are the same shape. So I got the outside. I'm going to draw the inside. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. And don't worry about necessarily cutting on the line the first go round, because if you have a little bit of marker or pencil, you can glue on that side, and then you don't have to worry about that mark showing up on your image. Okay, so I got the outside cut out. Now I'm going to cut out the inside. Yeah, I think it's easier if it's a little bit thicker versus thinner for the overlapping to make that endless knot that we're going for. But my heart is about as wide as my pointer finger, to give you a guide. So I got 2 of the green. Go put these to the side. I'm going to do the other 2 in yellow. So I'm just folding a piece of paper in half, and then in half again, a little lick, and I'm tearing it, and then I'm going to fold this in half, just so I'm not wasting a whole bunch of paper. But you could trace them all out like this, like flat on your paper. You could just trace out 4, or like I said, you could have 4 folded pieces of paper to start, and just use your strong hands and fingers with those scissors to cut out all 4 pieces of paper at once. It's up to you. Whatever process works best for you. Okay, so I have I have 2 pieces of paper folded in half, and they're going together like a book. Now I'm going to put my little heart that I cut out first to trace down. And just trace that outside. Ooh, ooh. Good thing I made extra hearts. And the inside. We cut these out, and then cut out the inside. So now you should have 4 hearts. You can put them all together and see if you need to trim anything, but you could also just trim it a little bit as we go to make it work. Okay, so I got my 4 hearts. I got 2 different colors. I'm putting them to the side. Now I'm going to do my 2 circles. So for that, I'm using a cup, and I'm using the lip of the cup, the part you drink out of, for the medium-sized circle, and I'm using the bottom of the cup for the small circle. I thought that was very clever. I'm going to do a yellow and a purple circle. So we'll start with the yellow. Do that for the big one. Ba-ba. I'm going to go ahead and trace the small one, so I'm using the bottom of my cup. Now I'm going to cut out my circles, and like we did on the arc, after I get it cut out, I'll fold it in half and cut it out so it's like the outline of a circle. My medium circle, now we'll do the small one. Okay, so you got your 2 circles. Now we're going to take it and fold the circle in half. And you can draw or trace the circle if you want to that you're going to cut out. Or you can just use your eye and try to get it to be even. I'm going to look for maybe like my finger width again. And cut out half of a circle like that. There we go. And like I said, if it's not perfect, we can just do a little fudging and trimming at the end there. Hopefully we won't have to do too much. So again, I'm taking my little circle, I'm folding it in half. This time I'll draw on it so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, this circle is not matching up. So first I'm gonna just trim the outside a little bit. Okay, I'll draw this time so you can see what I'm doing. But I'm just cutting out like another half circle here on the inside. And I want it to be about as wide as my finger. So it's a good guide. Like that. So I'm going to cut that out now. Okay. This one's a little wobbly. We might have to fudge it a little bit more. So now you should have a medium circle, a small circle, and 4 hearts. So get your background paper. Now you can put this all together first. It might be easier so you don't have a big mess on your paper if you have to move stuff around. You could just be doing it flat on the table and put it together as you go. I'm going to put it on the paper as I go so you can see what I'm doing. So first things first, we're going to cut through the bottom of the heart. Just the bottom, not the top, just the bottom right there on that line. On each one. So it should open. Open your heart. Open your heart to love. So all 4 of my hearts are open. And now we're going to take our circle and do the same thing. We're just going to cut on one end, right at that line. My wobbly one. It's okay. I'm wobbly too. Now, I'm going to glue it as I go just so you can see what I'm doing easier. But I'm just putting glue right on the top of the heart. So the bottom part's going to be movable. That way I don't have a bunch of glue mess on my page. Taking my glue. And I want the tip of my heart to be somewhere near the center. And again, you can glue it all to itself first and then cut out your shape. That's what I did for this one. I glued everything together and then I put it down on the piece of paper. Okay, so I have the top glued down and then this part I can move. And I already got it dirty. What is on my hands, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to take the same color, and I'm going to put glue right on the bumps of the heart. And then I want this tip to come right to the tip of the inside of the heart where it's cut out. Okay, and I'm pressing down those heart bumps. So this is still open, so I can move it. Okay. Now I'm getting my other color heart, putting a little bit of glue on those top bumps. And I'm putting the tip of the heart on the outside heart right here, right on the outside where you see the hearts come together. So that's my guide of where I'm placing it. And then I'm pressing down. There we go. Just the tops. So this is all movable. Last heart. Again, we're just gluing right at the top. And we'll put this tip at the tip of the inside heart. Like that. So you should get a pretty good overlapping, almost hiding the other heart. So now we'll do the over-under part with the heart. So be gentle, be patient. I know you're probably way more patient than I am. So I just gently lifted up the first heart, the green part, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom here. I'll put it down like that. So on the top of that yellow heart. Now I'm going to gently I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom of this yellow piece of paper and glue it to that green piece of paper. Just a little bit. And I'm not putting glue all the way on the paper on the back yet because we got to weave through the circles. Okay, this is the side. We're taking this green and we're gently laying it over the top like that. Just put a little bit of glue on the back of that green and lay it over. So hopefully the two ends of your green heart should meet up so it looks like a continuous line. See, we got a continuous line here. And then we got the yellow heart's continuous line behind it. Okay, now we're going to take our small circle, and this is why we didn't glue anything on the bottom yet. You're going to open it up and you're going to weave it through and you're going to go over, under. So I went under. So the green is on top still. I'm going over the yellow and under and over. Like that. And now we can put a little bit of glue on here. You can also glue it all at the end. Now I'm taking my big yellow heart and I want it to do the opposite hearts, go over the opposite hearts that the purple, the small circle is. So I'll just start on the next one and I'm going under, over, okay, there we go, under and over. Okay, so once you have it all woven through there, it does help if you do the glue on the top of the hearts first, because then you can take it and kind of place everything, weave everything in there without it moving too much. And now we can glue it down. And just put a little bit of glue. Again, it doesn't have to be all over the place, just a little bit of glue to keep it stable. So maybe just do the ends of your hearts. If anything's really sticking up, like glue that down. But you shouldn't need too much glue to get it to all stick in place. Ta-da! Okay, this actually turned turned out way better than that easier Trinity knot. And it's totally because I took the time, took a break, and went through it step by step just for myself one more time. Isn't that nice? I think so. So we got our Trinity knot, our Celtic Trinity knot for the traditionalists for St. Patrick's Day. And then we got this really fun, challenging, but I know you can do it, Shamrock Celtic knot for St. Patrick's Day. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's class, and maybe more than I did, I learned patience. That's what I learned today. Maybe you learned a little bit about Celtic knots and that adults have a hard time doing things too. Well, if you liked today's class, please like and subscribe and share with your friends. It really helps me continue to create these fun art classes for you guys online. I, of course, love to see your artwork. It really makes my day. It makes me so happy to see all you little artists and what you're doing out there in the world. So please tag me on Instagram at Freakin' Art, or send me an email or some snail mail and we can look at your art together. Well, I hope you had fun. And again, I'd love to see what you made. And happy St. Patrick's Day! I'll see you guys next week, okay?